So the sort of big story in the 80s is you carry on, increased numbers of women working. You got about 50% of women working at the beginning of that decade. And so this pressure on time for everybody, much less time, more disposable income. So again, the ready meals industry steps up, and at the same time we get microwaves. So the microwave and the ready meal industry are sort of partners in crime, I suppose, or partners in helping housewives and the household be able to cope.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. You think the first time I bought a microwave, I was terrified of it. I switched it, I put something in for the first time, I switched it on and I went like that. I had no idea what this is going to do. You know, you're just in your 20s and think, right, OK, do I trust this? And then you end up standing in front of it and you're like that.
Because you're worried, but people were worried about radiation and everything, weren't they, in the early days?
One of the other things from this decade that surprised people is, you know, the sandwich in a skillet or the pre-packed sandwich, very everyday, ordinary, it only becomes available on shelves in 1981.
Gosh.
Cheese, tinned salmon and prawn, the first flavours. But it sort of marks our changing relationship with money and time and leisure, because suddenly we're prepared to pay to free up that time, where before you'd have a packed lunch or you'd go to the canteen, you know, suddenly you're paying for food.
Love a bit of monosodium glutamate.
Yes, and well, and that's also about how population has changed and how our taste changed in terms of flavours. Okay. And then up to the 90s, and this is really, I think, a story of quite a schizophrenic relationship with food. On the one hand, you've got sort of anxiety about food, like BSE, growth of organic food, farmers markets, this kind of turn towards the natural. And then you see that also in the processed food becomes more natural. So sort of, you know, sort of tomato sauces, fresh pastas, huge increase in bagged salads and vegetables. On the other hand, you still have this highly processed, things like Pop-Tarts come out in the 90s, lots of highly processed foods at the same time. Yeah. And so this is really the sort of story of the 90s.